Goots is ready. 6 full roller balls for Goots.
Welcome back to JR Pro Shop Viz, everyone. Brand new Pro Shop topic today. We're going to be talking about full roller. We're going to explain what it is, how to identify yourself as a full roller, and some solutions of how to manipulate your ball reaction a little bit better if you are a full roller. Barks, you want to explain what is a full roller?
So essentially a full roller is a bowler who tracks around the entire circumference of the ball. That's a total of 13.5 inches, and typically these bowlers have 0 degrees of axis tilt. Now, if you're not sure whether or not you are a full roller, please refer to our stats video right up here. So if your axis tilt is at 0, or even really close to it, if you see your ball clipping the thumb hole or the finger holes or getting really close to it, you might be a good candidate for something like this. So typically bowlers who roll over their thumb hole will see a little bit less hook and maybe inconsistent hook as well. So we use full roller layouts to get the ball to flare in the opposite direction. So instead of over the thumb hole, it's going more towards the fingers. This will give you a more consistent ball reaction and maybe more overall hook as well. So using a right-handed bowler as a reference point, so if you see that first oil line either clipping the thumb hole or just to the right of it, typical pin-up layouts, for example, are going to get the ball to flare over that thumb hole. You're going to hear it thump down the lane. You're going to see inconsistent ball motion at the end of the pattern. Now the full roller layout, we kind of flip the layout on its head a little bit and do things a little bit backwards. So instead of seeing the flare lines flare over the thumb hole, they're actually going to flare in the opposite direction, more towards the fingers. Your ball roll won't be clipping the thumb hole. Instead, it will be providing a more consistent reaction and hopefully more overall hook as well. So of course we have Frankie here with us today. He's actually drilled a few balls with a full roller layout. Now what's the reason for doing that, Frankie? That's something that Chris Forey from Buddy's Pro Shop actually suggested to me. Because my track is so high, I have a really hard time drilling anything with a pin down layout because that makes the track go even higher onto my finger and thumb hole. For someone like me who bowls in a lot of different environments, in a lot of different places, I need to have a variety in my layouts, and now all of a sudden I'm limited because I can't drill anything pinned down. So the full roller layout gives me a different shape that the pin-up layouts can't give me. In addition to the layout looking a little bit weird on the ball, the flare lines look a little bit weird too. Instead of going right next to the finger and the thumb hole, they actually go in between the fingers and the thumb hole. The bow tie is usually a little bit lower and to the left of my middle finger, and the flare lines go horizontal between the fingers and the thumb hole. What that does for me personally and for people with a track similar to mine, it gives me a smoother shape going down the lane. And like I said earlier, it just gives me a different option, something that I desperately need out on tour. I've got 2 Origins with me. This one is a regular pin-up layout. The other one that's on the rack right now is a full roller layout. We're gonna see how different they are. Right now, I've got a regular pin-up layout. This one is 4 3/8 inches pin to pap. Fresh 43-foot challenge pattern. I'm gonna try to line up with this one. I just started bowling. It's hooking quite a bit, hooking pretty early from what I'm seeing. So I'm gonna try to go a little bit further left and see if I can find some oil and hit the pocket with this one. Okay, that wasn't my best shot, but I tripped the 4-pin. We're gonna see if I can make one more move and get a little closer to hitting the pocket. We can't. I thought I was closer to hitting the pocket than I actually was, but this ball's actually pretty quick off of the end of the pattern. We're gonna make one more move. So all the shots you just saw were with this regular 4 3/8 pin-up layout. It feels like it's pretty quick off the end of the pattern, and it feels like it's forcing me pretty far left. We're bowling on a fresh 43-foot condition. I don't necessarily want to be that far left already. So I'm gonna switch to the full roller ball and see what the difference is. All right, I'm gonna throw this one in the same spot as the shot that messengered the 10-pin.
That was in the same spot as the last one. Already I'm seeing a much less drastic change of directions in this ball. So I'm gonna go back to the right a little bit and see if this will allow me to play a little straighter. I'm gonna move about 3 and 2 right from the one that just 10 pin. Goots is ready. 6 full roller balls for Goots. Coming right up. Okay, that was obviously a lot smoother than the pin-up ball. That was 3 and 2 right, the wrap 10 that I just left. It feels like this one is giving me a much longer hook window. So it's overall much smoother as it goes down the lane, which usually means more controllable. 2 and 1 more right. See if I can roll it a little more. Pretty good, pretty smooth. So after those 2 moves, that exact same spot I'm pretty sure is where I went through the face and split with the pin-up ball, because that reaction was so much quicker when it saw the friction. This one just smooths out the pattern a lot better, and I'm able to stay further right, which is usually what I want to do on fresher conditions. I want to keep the ball a little more in front of me. I don't want to open up my angles too much too early, and this full roller ball, this full roller layout is helping me do that. Still with the full roller layout, I'm really liking the reaction this ball's giving me right now. I feel like I have a really big window for the ball to read the pattern and do the right thing. I feel like I'm controlling the pocket really well right now. I can move a little bit left and a little bit right and still have the ball do the right thing. Looks kind of funky, looks upside down. Definitely not something that I would recommend everyone try. It works for me because of the way my track is. Because my track is super high, it makes it really tricky for me to drill any pin down balls, because then, as we talked about in the intro, the track gets even higher up and rolls onto the thumb hole, and we don't really want that. Ever since new rules got rid of weight holes, it's made it a lot harder for me to drill pin down balls, and I've found that at times I've been more limited. At the end of the day, there's only so many things you can do with different pin-up layouts, and not having any pin-down layouts has limited me in how many ball shapes I can create. In general, pin-down layouts tend to smooth out the shape a little bit more. Pin-up layouts tend to be a little bit more angular. Pin-down layouts just tend to blend out the pattern a little bit more, which tends to make it more controllable. So on those wet-dry conditions, that's usually pretty good. I like those types of shapes if I'm trying to play a little bit straighter. I like it when I'm trying to blend out a cliff. If I have to get left and I feel like I have over-under, I feel like that's a pretty good substitute for that. The full roller layouts, for me, pretty close substitute to pin down layouts. The only real reason I have full roller layouts, I'm not really able with my ball roll to drill pin down balls. So if you're not tracking as high as I am, if you're not on your thumb hole, or if you're not super close to the fingers and the thumb, you probably don't need to mess around with these layouts. But if you are, might be something worth asking a pro shop operator about. This new ball here, the 900 Global Origin, is an asymmetrical ball. That's usually the type of ball that I'm going to use full roller layouts on. It's a lot easier to predict where the bow tie is going to be, where the flare lines are going to be. It gets a little harder to do that with symmetric balls. So asymmetrical balls primarily are what I use them on. I have some on Eternity Pies. I've tried in the past Vibos, Dark Codes, Attention Stars. I've tried full roller layouts on a few different balls, most of them asymmetrical balls, because it's easier to predict where the flare lines are going to end up. This is definitely a shape that I'm excited to play around with. I haven't really been able to see that kind of shape ever since I've stopped drilling pin down layouts. I do want to shout out Chris Forey. He's the one who suggested those layouts for me from Buddy's Pro Shop. He's been a great help with those layouts, just laying different balls out for me and giving me different ideas to try. And it's definitely a shape that I've missed and don't have to feel like I have to be perfect. A lot of times when we bowl out on tour and we have to open up our angles so much, I get trapped with all the balls that are pin up, all the balls that I have that I send them to the right and they just face up and go straight. These types of full roller layouts, I'll be able to blend out the patterns a little bit better. And I've used them with some success in all sorts of different competitions in the last year and a half or so. Okay, so the full roller one was giving me pretty big area to throw to. I'm gonna stand kind of in the middle of all that in the same spot with the pin up one now and see what happens. Because this ball is a lot more sensitive to friction, it feels like it's forcing me pretty far left. So I'm gonna make about a 5-board move here to the left, 5 and 2. 5-board move left, and I went high flush. So I'm gonna go a few more and try again. Both of these balls have a pin to pap distance of 4 3/8, and there's a pretty sizable difference on the lanes with the reaction. The full roller layout allows me to stay closer to the friction, keep my angles a little bit more closed, a lot more closed, keep the ball in front of me, which I prefer to do on fresher conditions. The pin-up layout wants to force me left and wants me to open up my angles a little bit more because it's a quicker reaction to the friction. The pin-up layout forces me to go left and open up my angles a little bit more because it's so much more responsive to friction and it's a lot more angular. So that was the full roller layout, and I still prefer that to the pin-up layout right now on this condition, on this lane surface. So with everything that we just talked about, you also want to trust your eyes and trust your ball motion and go off of what that's telling you. Whether I'm playing straight or whether I'm hooking it, I feel like the full roller ball is giving me a better motion than the pin-up ball. So even though this pattern's 43 feet, these lanes have a ton of friction on them, so no matter where I'm at on the lane, the full roller ball has given me a better motion. So that can be a good lesson for you guys at home too. If you're on an old lane surface like this, you might need something like a pin down ball, or the equivalent for me, a full roller ball, to blend out that condition a little bit better. That's not to say that the pin-up ball isn't as good, it's just gonna be better in a different environment. Right now, the full roller is giving me the best look because of the environment that I'm in. So definitely tailor your look and tailor your layouts and your ball choices to the environment that you normally bowl in. Okay, so I'm having a lot of fun with this ball. I'm gonna throw one more before we recap. That's a good one to end on.
Okay, we're back from the lanes. Frankie threw a whole bunch of different shots on a whole bunch of different lines. Can you tell us your final thoughts on a normal layout versus the full roller layout versus a pin down layout?
As we saw with the shots that I threw, the full roller layout gave me a much smoother, much more controllable motion on these lanes that we bowled on today. The pin-up layout wanted to be a lot more angular and was a lot more responsive to friction, which wasn't the best thing for me today, right now. That's not to say that one is better or worse than the other, just really is dependent on where you're bowling, what pattern you're bowling on, what lanes you're bowling on. All these things come into play to make up the environment that you're bowling in, and you have to be able to trust your eyes to see what is best for you in specific situations. Now, my track is pretty unique. It's really, really high, close to the fingers and the thumb hole. Not a lot of people are like that. I'm gonna use the full roller layouts as sort of pin down layouts. If you don't track as high as I do, if you're not over the thumb hole or clipping the thumb hole, you probably don't need to mess around with that. Regular pin down layouts will give you that similar difference between pin up and pin down. But for me, I'm gonna go for full roller. Based on the shots that I threw today, the full roller layout was a lot better than the pin up layout. That's not to say that it'll always be the case. There definitely will be times when the pin up layout is going to look better than the full roller layouts. It's not to say that one is better than the other. It's all about having different options in your bag and building an arsenal that will allow you to attack all sorts of different lane conditions. While it might look weird, I'm definitely not a numbers guy when it comes to bowling. I don't pay super close attention to RG numbers, diff numbers, all that stuff. I just like to see my ball go down the lane. From what I saw today, I see a drastic difference between the two.
Thanks, Frankie, for explaining more about full roller layouts and how they apply to you and what you see out of them on the lanes today. So question time, how many layouts have you tried on bowling balls, and which one is your favorite? Let us know down in the comments below.
Again to Frankie, just to wrap it up, if you track really close to the finger or the thumb, or your track is going over the thumb, then you would try one of these full roller layouts. But if you don't, if you track away from the holes, right, then just a regular pin down layout is going to achieve pretty close to the same ball reaction as Frankie was seeing here today with his full roller layout. So just make sure that you know where your track is, and if you're not sure, go see your pro shop guy and ask him, and he can help help you out with layouts and balls and stuff like that. But if you are having a problem rolling over the holes, finger or thumb, something like this could be a solution for you. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you in the next vid.